the product in those farms. And the second use we are.
Can I just say what type of farms are these?
We're talking about poultry, mainly chicken farms. Okay. Yep. We install a couple of farms of layers. Okay, but our main market is in the poultry sector.
Okay.
Yeah, and now we are getting a lot of requests to apply also our product in the outside of the farms to create a kind of shield, because there is an enormous fear, at least in Spain, because there have been some focus about this avian flu that happens when the migrant birds, they cross the Iberian Peninsula going to Africa or going to north of Europe. And then these animals, they get the tendency to land close to where there are farms, because they smell or they notice there is feet around, or there are something or the smell of the thing. So there is the big risk in that thing. So our product, as this is a permanent type of disinfection, it can be applied, and it's much more easy because they do not need lights outside. It can be applied outside of the farms in order to avoid the transmission of this virus through the defecations or through the remains of any one of these birds that are crossing the skies. So this is because, of course, these birds, they will have no contact with the animals inside of the farm, but afterwards, either insects or either mice or either any kind of things, they can introduce into the farm some of the infected and then getting a problem.
So you're saying it will sort out viruses and bacteria?
Yes, because the system we work is that our technology is producing in a continuous way hydrogen peroxide. It's very small quantities, but in a continuous way on the surfaces. So it means when you apply hydrogen peroxide, it kills practically all type of microorganisms, because it's not a kind of, let's say, a product that like an antibiotic and things that is particular one product. What we do is that the hydrogen peroxide, it burns the outside cover of either virus, either bacteria, either I don't know, molds or even yeast and any kind of microorganism that can be present.
So if you start inside the shed, then how do you apply it?
Inside?
Yeah, just let's focus on the inside first.
Yeah, inside, the first thing we do in the farms is that we install the grid of our lamps. Okay, when the farm is empty, yep. And afterwards, just they do the maintenance of the farm. They do the cleaning. They take the manure out. They repair and everything. They do the standard disinfection process. And the last thing they do before the animal center is to spray either the floor and the, let's say, 1 meter of the walls, the areas where the birds have access. Yeah.
Yep.
That is the more that's the areas where if an infection is developing there, it can contaminate and it can infect the chicken. So this is the thing we've done that.
Yeah, this is before you put the litter on the floor. So you buck, wash, and tin, disinfect, and then you put your product on.
Yes,
that's right. And then you put the litter on the floor.
Yeah, we've done the both. We are done in the both systems, and both where it has been sprayed on the litter and has been applied on the floor directly, and we do not see any difference because the product mixes.
Okay.
So there is not a big differences between the two systems of application. No, and then what we do is that we have a kind of a history of success, And of course, when we talk about what is the usage and the percentage of or the quantities of use of our product, we are always referring to what we've done historically in the farms. And as this is functioning, we say, don't touch it. Yeah. So what we are doing in that moment is that we apply something like 1/10 of a liter per square meter at the beginning. And afterwards, in the next applications, we only do 1/3 of that quantity. Yeah, I mean, we understand that part of the product is removed together with the manure, the washing of the walls, and all this maintenance of the farm that is done. So currently, the walls are sprayed with detergents, even with water pressure and all these kind of things that is washed on the floors and all the machinery and so on. So what we do is that we apply only a quantity as a refreshment to compensate the quantity of our material that has been removed. And this has been functioning.
Okay.
Is that for the walls or for the floor, Jesse?
No, well, we do, what we said is that first application, you apply 1 liter per 10 square meters. And in future applications, we apply 1 liter for 30 square meters.
Okay.
I mean, it's more or less 1/3 of the quantity because, of course, part of the material remains in the walls and remains and keeps active. It's a question only to this. The big advantage of that thing, what is the big advantage of our technology preferred to other technologies? I mean, when you disinfect with a standard product, I mean, I don't know, with one of these quaternary ammonia, one of the things that are normally indicated for that, you kill practically every microorganism in the farm in only, let's say, 1 minute. Okay. Afterwards, this material evaporates and nothing remains in the farm. So any microorganism that can be surviving to this big infection, because it's living in a corner, in a crack, in a hole, in any irregularity of the farm, any place where you do not reach together, this will develop again, and this will create a new colony, and this colony will again infect these things. It's true that we are killing a big part of it, but there's true that some of these microorganisms remain alive in the farm. Our technology, it's a little bit the guard. I mean, we are producing small quantities of ammonia. I mean, any of the surviving microorganisms that tries to develop, he found an ambient where there is very small quantities, but there are quantities of peroxide. So they cannot develop, they cannot grow, and then cannot create a colony big enough to infect any one of the birds. And this is a little bit the difference between our technology and the technology of the standard disinfection. And the big advantage of our product is that the activity continues for months. I mean, we keep disinfecting the farm, we keep disinfecting the surfaces for 3, 4, 5 months with no problem, absolutely no problem.
So if we're just on a chicken farm, so we turn the farm around every 9 weeks.
Yes.
So therefore we have 5.4 cycles per year.
Mm-hmm.
So you would do one initial hit, and then each of the subsequent cycles you'd go at 1 liter per 30 square meters.
That's right.
And right. So our disinfection program is we use a detergent after clean out. Then we use a glutaraldehyde.
Yes.
And then we litter up. And then once the final job is done, then we hot fog the whole shed once all the work is done and everybody's left. So we do a final formaldehyde hot fog.
Yes,
That's our standard plan.
yes. Then our product should be applied just after the formaldehyde, just before entering the bird.
So after the formaldehyde, and that would be so that you've fitted your light. So just let's say they're done. So how would you apply your product then?
Oh,
How
the
do you
pure spray.
physically do it?
It's just a spray.
You walk right
At the
shed with-
beginning we used one of these garden tools to spray the tomatoes. You know the handy. Now we have some big containers with an engine and a very long hose to spray it. But it's a pure spraying. We do not need to do any kind of a special fogging or things like that. It's just a spray.
And do you have to walk up and down the shed, or do you just stand at the door and pump it in?
Beg your pardon?
Do you have to walk up and down the shed with your spray, or do you stand at the door and just pump it all into the
Well,
shed?
the product is 100% non-toxic. It's not like the glutaraldehyde or this thing. So you can, the only thing you need when you apply that is that to wear a mask, because of course you are spraying a liquid with some solids in it, not
Yep.
to breathe the dust. But the product is 100% non-toxic.
So yes, you would walk up and down the shed and spray it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I presume it would just be like spraying Fiat IB, just wafting it over the litter, with obviously no birds and up the walls as you go in.
I applied this at a dairy down in Wales last week, Rural Dairy, and I did their calving stalls for them. And I just literally got a fogging machine and held the strap on. I was about 8 litres in, and I just went up and down and just applied it, and it applies a fog.
Yeah, the problem of the fogging machine is that they are more expensive, more complicated, and not needed. In fact, I mean, just a pure spray, it's much more, it's faster and is easier, and at the end, it functions very well with our product.
So can you explain to me then how it works?
How it works?
How do you create the hydrogen peroxide on a persistent basis?
Yeah, I mean, our technology is a sister technology of the solar panels. Okay. I mean, a solar panel is a silica. It's a glass. It's a pure, very purified glass. Silica cells that, when they are very pure, they become one thing that we call semiconductors, and they are able to transform the light energy into electricity. And this is well-known technology. This is perfectly. Everybody has solar panels at home in one way or another, and this is a absolutely accepted technology. In our case, we, instead of using silica particles, we are using titanium particles, and they work exactly the same. When they receive light, they are able, instead of producing electricity, they're able to excite the humidity and the oxygen in the air. If the particle they excite is oxygen, then we create this peroxide. We call a peroxyl radical. That is the chemical mother of the hydrogen peroxide, and this is created on the walls.
What's the chemical for hydrogen peroxide?
H2O2.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. And then if there is water, if there is humidity, because of course, I mean, our particles are stupid. They are exciting materials in the air, but they don't know how to select whether they are exciting water or oxygen. Or that if they do with water, with humidity, then they create another type of radicals they call hydroxyl radicals. And these hydroxyl radicals, they are able to decrease the pressure of the ammonia in the farm. That I don't know how important is that for poultry, but this is our main market for the pig industry in that moment.
Ammonia would not be really relevant for what we do because ours are low density chicken. Okay. It might be more relevant for an intensive broiler farm.
Yeah, I mean, in Spain is extremely important for the pig industry, because the new legislation of animal welfare in Europe in that moment is decreasing the tolerance of ammonia in the air, and our product is able to reduce very strong percentage of the ammonia, because if not, the only solution is either to reduce density of the animals, and it means cost, or to change the feed with much less protein, and it means also cost, because then the animals develop slower.
Yep.
Or well, there is not many other solutions for that. I mean, either to reduce.
The other option is to ventilate it out, which is a cost as well.
Yeah, but then you go with environmental.
Yep.
I mean, then you get all these green people saying, yes, you are launching ammonia to the air and so, and the smells, I mean, the pig farms and so on. So all these things, it gets a rather complicated situation to try to reduce the ammonia in the pig farms. But okay, our technology is doing, and well, we are in that moment installing a number of farms for that purpose.
So the question now is it registered with DEFRA in the UK as a disinfectant?
Well, I guess it will be very easy, because in the UK, in Europe, it's a very, very simple registration in all countries. It's a question of 24 hours. And the UK, it's following exactly the same, still the same legislation than the European Union yet for this question of the disinfectants.
Okay.
Because our product is not listed as a dangerous raw material. So it means that, in fact, the only claim we have to do is that this is the product, it works in that way, and only develop a layer, a label that is explaining exactly what is the purpose of the material, but no more than that.
Right. So for us, that would be a fairly critical thing for you to do.
Yeah.
Because we can only use what's on the DEFRA approved list, you know that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so just let's pretend it is registered. How do the costs stack up then?
What do you mean?
What does it cost to treat a shed, or per square meter, or however you want to consider it?
I mean, the main problem of that is the installation of the lights in all the cases, because of course the problem is that on theory our product can be perfectly activated by fluorescent lights in a farm, but the truth is that the fluorescent in a farm, they are completely protected against the humidity and the spill, the water spillage and things like that, and then the screens that they use to protect that, they block the part of the light that is useful for us. Yeah. So it's for that we develop.
What about LED lights? If you've got LED lights?
Yeah, we develop our own LED lights, because the standard LED lights, they do not have the energy enough to activate our product. This technology, differently than the solar cells, it requires light at the level of the invisible, at the level of the blue violet. You know that when you split the visible light, it goes from red to violet. Yeah, in the
Spectrum.
The spectrum. Okay, so we need to go to the most energetic, and then we develop some LEDs that are emitting in that level. And it's required. This is not something that we can compromise on that point. It's required to have this.
Right. So I take it that you need the special lights to activate the chemical.
Yes.
And those lights create a type of light spectrum. So what impact does that light have on the bird behavior?
Well,
Birds are quite sensitive to light.
The farms in Spain, they keep the lights on 24 hours a day. It is not affecting the behavior of the animals. It's like some blue spots on the ceiling, and if you look at a farm, the illumination of a farm at night with our lights or without is the same difference that having a night, being a starry night and a very dark night or cloudy night, you know?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it's not disturbing, not even disturbing in the laying hens, the path of day, night, and egg laying and all these things that is very technological. Our lights, they are not producing what the birds identified as illumination.
Yep, okay. Right, so back then to the cost then. So you would have,
I could probably come up with a model for that now, if I understand the size of the.
right, well, if you said let's just take a standard shed,
Yeah,
which is 1,764 square meters. I get you the dimensions, such as all these sheds are the same.
yeah.
So we just get you a length and a width.
Yeah.
And a height, I guess.
And I can come back
And then
to
you can say, right, what would the cost be for the capital cost? That's what you say.
So that's the lights, and then thereafter it's
Then after it's the killer.
correct. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I can come up with that next.
I think the best
Well,
answer regarding that is to make a calculation on that for
Yep.
you on that point, not to give you an answer that perhaps is not the right one. Yeah.
These are the lights. Are these pressure washer proof? If you stuck
Are
this
the
on the
lights,
wall,
are the lights pressure
Oh yeah,
waterproof?
definitely. Our lights do not require any kind of screen or any kind of protection because they have a kind of a silicone outside that they protect all the electronics, and it allows not to apply any kind of let's say protection or things like that, or a screen, or how you. Yeah. In fact, they were designed to do that. Yeah.
I think that each strip you've got there does what, about 10 square meters? Did you say?
Yeah, we currently apply the lamps in a grid of about 5 to 6 meters distance from one lamp to the other in a kind of a square. Yeah, 5 to 6 meters from one lamp to the other, either in a square. So it means approximately every 40 square meters, one lamp or something like that.
It's about a reasonable area.
you're not going to leave that with you.
Yeah, this is the lamp. This is the type of light. Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a moment.
And they would run for about 3 years, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they are being designed to survive during 50,000 hours. That is more than 5 years. But currently we say the moment that you reach close to the 4 years, they need to be changed. But because then the defectivity can drop. We didn't reach that yet.
There's a lot of little governors behind that, isn't there? There's a lot.
Especially made.
Just something that small would be ideal in a shed where your switch room is, or in an egg packing room, something like that to go down and have salmonella transferred.
You know where you should be selling this, don't you? You should be selling this into hospitals and stuff like that.
Well, we are doing that. We are selling that to different places, different material, of course, because the material we use for farms is not suitable for hospitals because it's a little bit dusty in the terms of this. But we have materials that are applied either in hospitals, also in transportation, and in many places. Yes, this is our business.
Right, okay, totally different question for you now. Have you looked at mushrooms? Does it do anything for spores?
You mean for the sport fields and so on?
No, in a mushroom farm.
Yeah, the mushroom
For
farm.
the yeast. Yeah.
No.
Spore.
In fact, we have very busy in the human environment and in the farming environment, and we've done very little in the vegetables environment. I must say we have some customers in something like that, but in fact we focused very little on that. Even we have some customer even in the wine industry for the molds appearing in the cellars, but we are not focused on that yet.
What is your gut feeling though, Jesus, on given broad spectrum that it deals with right across the pathogen range?
Well, in fact, our technology can be applied in many sectors. We even we are thinking about that, but even, for example, we are thinking about the marine industry. You know that the yachts, one of the main problems is the smells and the humidity inside of the boats, and so we have many sectors where to apply our technology. The problem is that well, we need to focus a little bit, and if not, we will. I mean, if we try to reach everything at the same time, it will be difficult.
But I would say yes, but we need to investigate it.
If
Through that
effective
point.
for forming bacteria, mushrooms are effective in this for. I think you might create problems for yourself.
So you might kill the spore.
Possibly so. But I'd say you'd have to do a serious bit of work on that to sort of like say, or you could say yay or nay regards that.
I mean, with that, I think you speak to a mushroom specialist, find out where the issue is, and then look at where the application might be if it was relevant. But certainly we can kill pathogens, viruses, spores, mildew, and so on with this technology. It's been very well tested over the years. So the thing is, it's using this in new applications, and I'm sure it would have a role to play. I mean, we're looking at now in certain parts of India, using the technology to bring down city pollution, outside traffic pollution. So it wasn't designed for that, but it's there's no reason why it can't work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and for sure, indoor it will work perfectly. So you can get a lot of pollution outside in the street, and you get your indoor houses with much less concentration of these pollutants. So at the end, is in the houses where we spend a big part of our time.
Jesse, would you explain to the guys what impact it had on antibiotics in the chicken farms and the pig farms that you've had trials with?
Well, yeah. I said I'm not a vet and so on, but in Spain we are facing in that moment, and I think it's the whole Europe, a big changes in the legislation in the terms of usage of antibiotics and these things. And one of the main problems the farmers are facing, and mainly the vets are facing in that moment, is that they are being accountable for the use of the antibiotics, and they are being forbidden to use antibiotics as a prevention system. So, I mean, they will need to be very sure that there is a problem in a farm before they accept the use of certain type of remedies into that farm. It is creating, at least in Spain, where we have a sector that is extremely industrialized. Our farms are enormous. Spain is, I think, the one of the big exporters of meat in the world in that moment. And the main problem is that this creating a lot of tension, because of course the farms, they are not reacting as quick as before when they have an infection. I mean, first of all, they have to have this infection declared, have to be proved, and then has to be treated. And if it's not done that way, the vets can be, they can be get some penalties and get some troubles on that. So today, being a vet on one of these farms is being a risky business in that point. And also, so what is happening is that any solution that we offer to decrease the pressure is very welcome in the sector. I mean, what we are trying in that moment is that to avoid infections to happen, to avoid antibiotics and medicines supplies to the animals in the farm. And this is the dream of all the veterinarians, because it's where the risk of the job is less. And it's where we play. Is where we play. Of course, we are not treating the animals. We are treating the box. We are treating the farm, the building. But if the farm is clean enough and it's not getting this infection, the pressure on the animals, it drops
right.
enormously.
Okay. What about Campylobacter?
Yeah, it happened the same. I mean, we are not specific on that.
No, so but has this got any impact on Campylobacter as a challenge?
I mean, you have to think that anything that comes from, let's say, in a farm that came from the envelope, it can be solved with our technology. I mean the envelope, I mean the building. Okay. So the only thing we are not able to solve is this infection that is inside of these animals.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. So, but for the rest, well, Campylobacter, it's another infection. It has no problem at all, and it will be from the floor. It will can taken from the walls and from all these parts. No problem for that.
Campylobacter, you would argue that the chick is clean, and therefore it will get infected from the environment. So if the environment is clean, then it delay the infections, in theory.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it happens the same with all kind of infections. All kind of infections. This is a little bit the difference why we have a little bit less success when we talk about the pig industry. Because today the main infections in the pig industry, they came already. They're inside of the animals with the genetics and things. I mean, pears and things like that are the big infections. They are already into the animals, and the only advantage we have is that if the building is cleaner, there is much more chances for the animals to recover from that infection. But we are not solving the infection itself. But of course, if the animal is not fighting with many other infections that are continuously entering into his mouth, or then in that case, he will be much more strong and much more easy for him to recover from some of these illnesses that are already inside. In the case of the chicken, it does not happen the same. But for example, many of the salmonella, for example, it came from the hatchery. It came from the eggs, from the eggshells, the birds, and so on. So all these kind of things happen exactly the same. So if you keep the farm free from that, the animals will not really develop the infection because the environment is not helping.
Right.
I don't know whether I'm explaining correctly. Yeah?
Well, yes, you are. So far as me, our systems are low density, therefore we don't use antibiotics of any consequence, and we don't tend to have ammonia problems. So that the two of those things are not really that relevant. However, in the intensive broiler sector, ammonia can be a problem. Antibiotics are a problem, and Campylobacter is a massive problem. So that is, if I were sitting where you're sitting, that is where I would go first. But before you can go anywhere, you've got to be DEFRA approved, or else there is no point in having the conversation. So that'd be my steer.
Yeah.
I think I'll give you a shed dimension to cost up just for a standard one of our chicken sheds, which would be no different to Hook's Two Sisters down the road, similar sort of shed. That'll give you a cost per setup, then a cost per treatment, and then if you're approved, then it would make sense to put one in and have a look at it.
Yeah.
But then after that, then who knows?
Yep. Should be straightforward, definitely, because you're not actually applying a chemical. It's not biocide. No. It's only when you've applied it and light hits it that it creates all the reactions. Yeah. So the actual product itself is a non-chemical product. It's not a disinfectant.
Yep.
It's the environment you create.
And just for your own benefit, okay, Tesco are our principal customer.
Yep.
And they have an R&D committee which looks at ideas and stuff for the future. And I sit on that committee, and every year we look at projects and look and see which one they will support. And obviously the things we're just talking about are very high up that agenda. So it's a very topical.
So is that Harry that just said that about Tesco?
Yes.
Yeah. So Harry, I entered this photocatalytic coating into Tesco's recent ideas portfolio. I got from 700 into the last there were 700 candidates with different ideas. I got down to the last 14, I think, and then I was kicked out.
And you got kicked out. Well, I wasn't on the missed the last judging day, so I didn't. Yeah, okay.
So, but they were very interested.
Right, what was the name? Just give me what you were under then. So
I'll have to dig out the application form. I've sent a copy of it actually to Tim. But I can dig that out. I can dig that out quite easily. The other thing as well that's interesting is that the Northern Irish Department of Agriculture, we had a meeting with them last week, and they're really excited to get behind this technology. So, and they also want to work with the Department of Agriculture in Ireland. And I've had meetings with both departments.
Who's that then? Is that Queen's or is that who's that?
That's what it probably will have a Queen's, but it's the civil service. It's the actual guys that are running the Department of Infection Control for ammonia and disease, mainly in chicken farms, I think, because it's a big industry with my park in Northern Ireland. And so what's actually interesting is that we're going to be setting up some tests.
Well, I think we need to keep very close to that then, because they obviously will have all the intensive broiler conversations that I've just referred to.
Well, we're doing a test soon, but they want it under a certain protocol, and they're giving us. I'm expecting to get an email with that protocol to me very shortly before we do any more tests.
There is an interesting thing you need to think about there, because they will be virtually all on biomass boiler heating.
Yes.
And that gives you a very dry environment.
Okay.
So if you've got a very dry environment, we've seen it with coccidiostat vaccinations, that you don't have the humidity in the shed as you would in a non-biomass system. If you've got a gas system, you've got moisture in the shed. If you've got biomass, you tend not to. So you just need to watch your moisture levels if you rely on moisture for the reaction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and so it's
Yeah, but this is the big difference between our technology and the rest. Is that in our technology, independent of moisture, independent of the outside conditions, we will keep disinfecting in a permanent way. I mean, when you talk
moisture and light,
the more moisture is for creating more effective against ammonia in the
but at the end to infect something, you need to create a certain quantity, a certain colony, either of a fungi or a bacteria. Can be a Campylobacter, or can be a Salmonella, or can be something. I mean, one single bacteria will never infect an animal. You need a colony of that thing. What we are doing with our technologies is we are avoiding the growth and the creation of that colonies.
Okay. Right. Well, no, that's good.
That's it. Give you enough.
Gives me enough to be thinking
we can
about.
Discuss. I can come up with something.
Yeah.
Okay,
but
guys.
But I'd say your very first job is get yourself registered.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you for your time. And
where are you speaking from then?
Near Barcelona.
Okay. Well, we're coming over to see you then.
Yeah. Coming over to Barcelona tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for your time, guys, and I'll catch you later.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Jesu.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.